Hey y'all, welcome back to Got Your Six podcast. I am so excited to talk to you today. I'm rushing because we are actually in the process of shifting to our summer spot in Wisconsin. Never thought I would ever say that out loud that we stay in Wisconsin. I am a New York City girl, lived in the South most of my military career. So this is a great opportunity for us. It's a time where we kind of sit back and reset. We take the time through the summer to have quiet time. It's something that's so important in our lives that most people don't really realize how much it is important to refine and redefine even where we're going every single day of our lives and us being out there because it is much more slow paced in Wisconsin, thank God. And it gives us an opportunity outside of our normal everyday lives, even though we still travel, even though we still do all the things. Hashtag laptop life, we're always on the go. But it gives us chances during the week to kind of sit back and analyze where we're at, take a breath sometimes, right? So I'm kind of on a rush today, but I had this thought of something I really wanted to kind of dig in with y'all today. So, hey, y'all, I'm so glad you're here. I'm not sure if I talk about this often. I wanted to say this really fast about the reason I wanted to name the podcast Got Your Six was not just because I was in the Army. I was raised by my military folks. My dad was in the Army, he fought in Korea. But more so, the whole reason is because when people walk away from the military, they just take away terms that they loved, right? Terms they use every single day. Most times, as a veteran, I can tell when speaking to somebody else if they've ever been in the military because of the jargon or wording that they use that transfers into their every single day life. That's kind of funny if you ever meet our kids, even because our kids grew up, they are military brats through and through. They even also use military expressions, which is hilarious. So it's just kind of funny that way. But Got Your Six has such an important meaning to me. It means I've got your back, right? I mean, those of you that don't know, it means I've got your back. I'm watching out for you in all the things that you do and all the things that you have going on. And honestly, that is why I live every single day of my life being a retiree from the military, what the military gave me, watching out for those around me, but more so also to help all of you sharing knowledge and information, whether it's from me or from a guest that I have on, because I have random guests on, and just giving you some more knowledge on being better in your lives and understanding things or sharing stories that can help you in ways that you never thought. That's why I love sharing stories because it kind of puts it into a relationship that you might be dealing with or scenario you're dealing with. But I just want to say, before we go any deeper, I want to set some clear boundaries for this conversation. I am not a certified therapist, though I do have many degrees, and I've said this on many of my podcasts. One thing is, I do have a psychology degree, and I do analyze things with the brain, with thinking, with concepts. And I read all of the time because the way people think really dictates so much with their lives, but people forget this, right? And so I was thinking about what a great way to bring this conversation and dynamic to the forefront of our minds and our thinking. Okay. So this is not clinical guidance. It's not meant to replace professional support where it is needed, right? If you feel like this does resonate in a way that maybe you need to reach out for professional support, please do that. Or reach out to me and I can give you some guidance on who to reach out to, right? Because this is going to talk about different things on your mental capacity, mental fitness, and things like that. So let's just get into it, okay? And this comes from leading under pressure. This comes from my lived experiences. This is why I'm bringing this to you today, from hard lessons learned in environments where how I showed up mentally had real consequences, not just for me, but the people around me. And through that, I've learned something that I now bring into every single space that I lead in. If you've ever taken classes with me or training with me, you know I bring everything about my military experiences in my life into my classes. Because the thing is, every business, every life that you live has hard experiences. I do love that there are leadership coaches out there, but sometimes they teach on fluff. I don't teach on fluff. I teach on reality. I teach on my personal experiences because the thing is the environments that taught me these things have shifted my ability to quickly analyze. Awareness is not enough. If you cannot direct yourself in moments, let me say that again. If you cannot direct yourself in moments, You're not going to be able to understand your internal state because it needs to help direct you. Your internal state will direct you if you can get yourself aligned properly. You can't always control what you feel, but you can train how you respond. And that is what this conversation is about today. Sorry, I kind of started out kind of jumbled. I was so excited about getting on here with you guys today. I hope you understand every podcast I do is very exciting to me, but some I am more excited than others. So this brings us to today's conversation. We're stepping into a conversation that I think gets talked about a lot, but not always understood clearly, which is mental health and mental fitness. Now, before we go any further, I want to be really clear about something. This is not a conversation about dismissing mental health. Mental health matters. It is real and it deserves attention, support, and in many cases, professional care. But what I'm saying today, especially when you're leading people and things, this is where we start blurring the lines. Being aware of how we feel and actually being able to lead ourselves through it is different. Mental health versus mental fitness. How we feel is regarded to mental health, and I'll talk more about that. But how we can get through it, how we work through mental fitness is how we lead through our lives, because those are not the same thing. So today we're going to separate them just a little bit. We're going to get very clear. And more importantly, I want you to walk away with ownership over what you can actually control. Let's simplify this right out of the gate. Mental health is your state of mind. Mental fitness is your capacity. Mental health is influenced by life, your experiences, your stress, your environment, your past. Your mental fitness is built, it is trained, it is developed through repetition, experience, and knowledge. Hear it? Mental health is your state of mind. Mental fitness is your capacity. Mental fitness is built, right? Here is why this matters so much as a leader over people and things, right? Leadership does not happen when everything feels good. I said it earlier, leadership coaches are great, but so many leadership coaches teach on fluff. The thing is, leadership does not happen when everything feels good. Leadership happens when you're tired, when you're overwhelmed, downright freaking exhausted. And more than not, when people are looking to you for answers, whether it be a peer, a counterpart, a work partner, a child in your life. But the part is that you don't always have the answers. And in those moments don't generally rise to your intentions. They default to your conditions. I learned this situation very clear in my military career, very, very clearly. There were moments where we were operating on very little sleep, high pressure, high responsibility. And I remember watching leaders in those scenarios. I love people watching. I love watching the people around me and the way they were and the way they are every single day. And that was not different, because the thing is I would watch and monitor how they treated soldiers, how these leaders, how these officers or these senior NCOs, how they treated the people around them. And even more so, how did they treat themselves, right? Because these were stressful situations, right? Some of them stayed steady, but some became so reactive. And honestly, it wasn't because of rank, it was because of intelligence. It wasn't even experience all the time, it was their ability to regulate themselves in the moment. There is a difference between someone who feels stress and someone who is controlled by it. And in those moments, that difference matters, because your reaction doesn't just impact you, it impacts everyone around you. That was one of the first times I really understood leadership is not about how you feel. I already had my psychology degree. I already understood the analyzation of the human behavior, right? And that's where it really came in, that leadership is not about how you feel. It's mental fitness. It's about how you show up despite how you feel. And that same pattern, I see it now in businesses that I work with and with business owners and parents and people that I talk to all of the time. I work with a lot of high performing individuals, smart, driven, capable people. And what they come to me with is not a lack of intelligence, not a lack of knowledge, but it sounds more like this. Does this sound familiar to you? I don't know why I'm not consistent. I feel so overwhelmed and inconsistent daily. I feel overwhelmed all the time. Or does this sound familiar? I'm making decisions, but I second guess them. Or my absolute favorite, I'm reacting more than I want to. I would love to be more proactive, but here's the reality, guys. Those are not operational problems. Those are mental fitness gaps. Because when pressure rises, if there is no internal structure, everything starts to feel urgent, emotional, and heavy. And everything happens quickly without realizing it. Leaders start leading from a place of urgency and chaos. So let's break this down in a way that's practical. Mental health is awareness, but mental health is not just awareness, right? It is your baseline condition. It's shaped by your experiences, your environment, your stress levels, your past, your current load, literally all of it, all the damn things is part of your mental health. Your past you're carrying with you every single day. Those of you that don't realize that or want to realize it, guess what, guys? You can compartmentalize things all day long, but until you bring it to your awareness, it's still going to be something you're carrying in your back pocket for the rest of your life. It's the state of mind that you're operating in over time. And that matters because if your mental health is struggling, it will show up in your energy, your focus, your patience, your clarity, even when people are just simply talking to you. But here's what most people stop to think about. They identify how they feel and they sit in it. But what they don't build is the ability to lead themselves through it. Mental health can fluctuate. You can have a hard week, right? You can be overwhelmed. You can be dealing with personal stress, loss, pressure, uncertainty. But listen, that does not make you a bad leader. That shit is just a moment, right? That's just mental health in that week, that stressful time. This is where I'm talking about the shift to mental fitness. This is where mental fitness comes in. If you do not have mental fitness, you will never be able to lead and shift. You will lead from whatever state you're in. And that is where problems begin. Because without mental fitness, your emotions become your decision making system. Does that make sense? Your stress becomes your tone in your conversation. Your overwhelm becomes your urgency. And now your internal state is no longer your internal body. It's on the outside. It's what's driving your leadership as a human being, no matter what role we're talking about in your life, right? So, what does mental fitness actually look like in real life? It's not complicated, but it is disciplined. It looks like pausing. Oh, my favorite. I talk about leadership pauses all the time. Pause before you respond, even for a moment. It looks like catching yourself when your emotions start driving your decisions and your conversations, right? It looks like asking yourself, is this fact or is this how I feel right now? You can come up with that in a split second, right? Split second, pause. Is this fact or is this how I feel right now? And one of the biggest things is, and this actually is what I teach every single day when I talk to clients, when I talk to friends, when I'm at conferences, when I'm with people. It's pausing and learning and understanding your mental fitness better, separating urgency from importance. Because when everything feels urgent, humans lose clarity. And when leaders, humans, lose clarity, teams and the people around them lose direction. If this is not developed, if mental fitness is not developed, here's what happens. You become the bottleneck in every area of your life. The people around you start adjusting to your mood instead of your leadership. Decisions feel inconsistent, and over time, trust starts to erode. not because you're not capable, but because you're not predictable under pressure. And predictability is what builds trust with people around you. I know my words right now are very, very tough to hear. I know I'm being very firm in what I'm saying, right? I know that what I'm saying can even be hard to hear, but sometimes it's the hard words that make the difference because predictability is what builds trust. The people around you need to know how they can trust you. They need to know where your voice comes from, right? Stop relying on how you feel to determine how you lead. The shift is simple. It starts here. It's not easy though. Start building the ability to lead regardless how you feel. That is mental fitness. And just like anything in life, it requires repetition, it requires awareness, and it requires willingness to catch yourself in real and choose differently. Mental health is something you must care for, and mental fitness is something you must train. If you're responsible for leading others personally or professionally, your internal state does not stay internal, it becomes environmental. Listen, guys, I'm having this hard conversation with you because it's needed to be heard. I got so excited thinking about having this conversation with you guys today, and I'm hoping that you're listening. If this conversation resonates to you, it's likely because you're carrying more than most people see. You carrying it internally. You do not need more information. You need structure around how you operate under pressure. If you're ready to strengthen that, the link for my one-on-one private discreet coaching calls is in the show notes. This link only comes to me. No one else sees the request for the calendar invite. And if this episode challenged your thinking, subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. I love having hard conversations. My next episode, actually, I'm having a guest on. It's going to be so fun and learning because I love teaching. So that's the way it happens. If this episode challenged you, remember, please subscribe. Remember, all y'all, leadership is not about eliminating pressure, right? It is about maintaining control of yourself in the presence of it. And it does not happen through awareness alone. Sometimes it's needed through structured realignment. Sometimes simply having someone to listen. Honestly, it happens through training your mind over and over of how you want to show up for yourself when no one is watching. Showing up for yourself when no one is listening is the most important part of every single thing I do. So make sure you jump into the show notes, look for the links, look for any goodies I might have in there for free that might help you out with this, learning how to understand and shift your mental fitness so you can react to situations better. Okay, y'all. Leadership is not built when things are easy. It is revealed when pressure rises. Take care of yourself, take care of your people, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.